Hey gang. Starting up a little bit early here. Cause I'm working on stuff. And so gonna kind of talk through what I'm doing here. I'm on version 7 of the CSS for my world. That's what I'm starting right now. Why? Because I didn't really like version 6 much. It was better than 5 in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways it just didn't have a visual appeal that I liked. So I fired up my alternate world, which is basically for me to try this stuff on, and I'm going to start banging away on it. I did find out, for example, there were some pages that the last CSS didn't work on because they have kind of like hidden CSS, and if you don't actually go to that page, you don't see it. And it may have messed up other things. So, here I am. The danger, of course, with CSS is as soon as I change things, then things go and yeah. So I'm starting a little at a time. So I'm starting on the home page. And so far I've worked on the background of the home page, actually the site background. The cover for the home page. I'm waiting on the Discord announcement I just posted. Really? Huh? Hey, look, it's Kahuna the Elder. Whoa. I edited it and it didn't take the edit. There we go. There we go. Now it's updated everywhere. Thank you, Stretch. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm working on the CSS. So I did the site background. I got the cover laid in the way I want it. I got the background for the page, which in World Anvil parlance is the section where the article actually sits. That can throw some people off because page, you think it's web page, but no. See you later, Stretch. Thank you. When you look at a World Anvil page, the very back is considered just the background, the presentation portion of it. The page in their CSS is actually that section that goes down the middle. That is where you actually read the article. So you have to be careful when you're looking for the CSS there. When you say page, you're only affecting the portion in the middle, not the whole thing. So I got the page done. I actually applied a background to it that has a fade to dark, basically. So it's actually an image of a piece of parchment that fades to dark in the background. And the cover image fades away as you get past the first part of the page. So did that. Then the next thing I worked on, and this took me a while, was the text for the world title. And if you watch, about every 10 seconds, you get that little flash of light going across it, giving a 3D effect, as well as the fact that the actual image itself, or the text itself, looks like it has a 3D set of curves to it. Look at it. That took quite a bit of research to figure out how to do. And it's some tricky stuff. There's some animation in there. There's some fooling around with colors and background clipping and everything. And basically what this does is, what you're seeing flash across is actually the background. But the background has been masked out by the letters. So when you think what you're seeing is the letters on top, what you're actually seeing is through the letters to the background, and there are text shadows applied that actually give it that curved look. So you have the effect, and then what I did was set an animation where there's a in behind those letters, the background is actually a gradient, a gold gray. It's gold solid, and then there's a little white streak, and that white streak is animated to go across from left to right. That's it. It's not really complicated. It just took a long time to get it to where I was happy with how it looked, and I am happy with how it looks now. And that will happen only on this page. I may do it on the link back to the world on some of the other pages to have it just really quickly do a little dance like this. But right now, the only page this should happen on is this page, the home page. So then I placed the subtitle. The subtitle is the text right beneath it. Wanted it to stand out, did not want it to have that effect go across, because the effect is great with just the title, but when you start putting it on everything, it's no longer an effect. It's just kind of, oh great, everything's flashing. So it doesn't really call attention to anything. But I did want it to stand out, and I wanted it to be a similar color and a similar layout to the world title. Next was this was the date. I do need a little bit of a text shadow on it, and that's what I was starting to work on. So text shadow it is, and the app that I'm using, or actually the extension that I'm using, is Magic CSS. You can find it on the Chrome store for Chrome, and it's really nice because I can edit the CSS and test it live. And then what I do is, oddly enough, I back it up first to Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code will let me format it, make it look nice in code form. It also will find errors that I have made. I've left off something here or there. It will find those errors for me, help me fix them before I put them into the live server. And what I do is I add to the Visual Studio. I do the test here. It works great. I go over to Visual Studio Code, add it there, then move it over, and then save it. Now everything is up to speed, and once that's done, I can actually take it out of Magic CSS, clear that out, and work on the next section. So I'm only working on a little section at a time. That keeps me from really jacking things up terribly, which I have done. Okay, so we're going to put a text shadow on that, and what we're going to do is we're just going to be just, I'm not a big drop shadow fan, to be honest. I actually like just kind of, I like the shadows that drop out and look almost like an outline. So that's what you got right there. Simple outline. And all this is really is telling it to do a text shadow, but the text shadow is behind. This is a 1 pixel wide text shadow in the blur. So it blurs from the edge of the letters by 1 pixel. And now I'm seeing that this color is too dark, so I'm going to go with yellow. Ooh, that's a bit bright. Let's just try gold. Oh man, that's okay. So now you see where some of the balance has to be is that the letters here, I like the color, but the letters just kind of disappear on me. So now what I've done is I've expanded that shadow out to 4 pixels. So it gives me a larger area that is darker around just those letters. And then I might be able to actually go back to yellow. And there you go. Now that's legible. And that's what you want. You want text that's easily legible by, you know, old guys like me. All right. So, next up, well, hang on. Let me do what I'm supposed to do here. So now, I like the way that looks. So I'm moving it into my visual CSS, and I like to comment the crap out of it. So I can actually, I know exactly what I've done. It also helps me if I want to reuse that code for something else. I know, oh, I did it on this. Now I can go back and do it on something else. So we're just going to call this World Date Styling on home page. And now I can just copy it in here. Bingo. Done. So now what I do is Control A, Control C, copy it, go back to my configuration page, and drop it in. Again, Control A, now Control V, save. Now, provided I haven't done anything illegal on World Anvil, I should be able to just reload that page and see it without having to bring up the magic CSS. So when this reloads, which you'll see in a second, this is actually going to be the live code as opposed to what I've been playing with. And it should look the same. So if I scroll up, sure enough, there it is. You can read the text. Everything looking good so far. So now, my next piece of text is created by. Now, I have to figure out exactly how I want that to look. So I'm reloading the magic CSS. I'll delete what it was I had already worked on because that is now live. Scroll up, and then we have created by Kahuna Help1. Now here's 2 problems here. To get the title, the world title, onto this cover, I had to use CSS to move it up there. Same with everything else. Everything else is going to be kind of scooched up. So I'm probably going to have to do that with the created by. When I go to do the mobile coding for this, probably going to have to really mess around with it or take out some of the fun stuff, some of the really pretty stuff to make it work on mobile. But right now I'm just working on desktop or standard web browsers. All right, cool feature of Magic CSS is a little button. It's up here in the top right corner. Looks like a window, square box with an arrow pointing into it. This is the tool that lets you select a piece of the page and say, okay, I want the code. I want the selectors for that. So for example, and you have to excuse me, I haven't done long speaking in about a week and my throat feels like it. Okay, so you'll see if I do this, it's going to tell me that whole section. You can see it's highlighted that whole section. I don't want that. I want just this section here. And you can see, and actually you can go even further down. You can just say the created by and the Kahuna Help1. So the first one I actually want to style is the created by. So that looks like it's possibly going to be this section, and we can test it. My favorite way to test is just simply change the color. Okay, so that is the section that I'm looking at. That is the section I want to mess with first. So now that I know that, I can change the font family. And I have no fonts other than the default fonts from World Anvil loaded. So, that's probably okay for right now. Maybe. No. I want this to have a look. Well, actually, yeah, it can be. Because I'm just going to use Cinzel. And you can see that's just far too small. So I'm going to change the font size up to, let's see how this works. Close. Too big. So I can go right in the middle. So that's, we'll say 2.5 M. And I kind of want to make that one kind of disappear a little bit. So I'm just going to give it black. And now I want to change my name on there. So again, we're going to click over here to the identifier. And now we just want Kahuna the Elder. I'm going to go with World Author. Font family. Just to make sure it's working, I'm going to give it times. And you can see it changed the font. So that works. Now, what's the font I really want there? Well, what else how should we figure it out? Easiest place is go to Google Fonts. Google Fonts are free to use. Oops. Fonts.google.com. They're free to use and they're fairly easy to set up in World Anvil. Although I will tell you there are a couple of little tricks you have to do because of some security stuff that's built into World Anvil. But first, let's find a font. So, I want something that looks like handwriting. Kind of looks Kahuna the Elderish. So now I'm just kind of scrolling through trying to find something that fits me. It's like something I would have written. Except I have lousy handwriting. Kind of like this Medin one a little bit. Of course, you know what I should do. One great thing about Google Fonts is up here it says type something. It literally means type something. So I can see what Kahuna the Elder is going to look like in these fonts. So you can see this first one. No. Well, that's all right. Kind of like that one, actually. Thank you. Mrs. Kahuna warning me that we have a service that comes out and cleans up after the dogs outside in the backyard. Worth its weight in gold to me, because after I had my heart surgery, I couldn't get out and do those kind of things for quite a while. And for $17 a week, they came out and picked it all up, took it all with them, and I didn't have to worry about it. Thank you. Now, see, this is a reason why I put the text in the top, is if you look at it, Kahuna the Elder in that Medin that I liked is just impossible to read. So that doesn't work. Kind of like this one here. Kind of a blocky style. This one here is kind of fun. So just, kind of scrolling through until I find one I really like. And I'll be honest, there's a lot of times I don't find any that I like. So I go with one that works. You ever look at something, like your name, so many times that it doesn't register anymore? It's like, what am I looking at? Oh, my name. Yeah, that Medin looked good, but no. But there was that one above here that I liked. I don't think it was Rancho. Yeah, it was this one, I think. Yeah, all right, so... Oh, it's this one. It's Rock Salt. That's the one. So, once you've selected your font, go ahead and click on it. That's going to take you to a new page. New page is going to show you what all the different letters look like and the different styles that it might have. This one, for example, only has one style. It's a 400, which is the standard weight. You can always give more weight or less weight to a font, even if you only chose the 400. It'll still, if you say 700, it'll try to beef it up. If you say 100 or 200, it's going to try to really thin it out. But I'm looking at the glyphs here. The glyphs are the letters and different characters, and I like the style. This looks like a handwritten style. I really like it. All right, so I'm going to select this style. When you select the style, it gives you the option of either linking or importing it. Now, what you're going to do for World Anvil is link. And there's a quick way to do it that most folks don't get. In here in this box, there's a big link that you're supposed to put in as in your HTML, but we don't deal with HTML on World Anvil. So, instead, what you're looking for is the section after href. So you're going to have this link, and then href equals and an opening of quotes. So you want everything from HTTP all the way to the end of the name of the font. You don't need the display swap or anything else. You just want the straight up link to that font. Copy it and then paste it into a new browser window. And I caught too much when I copied it. All right. And there you go. Well, what do you mean there you go? That's your font. That's all there is to it. So what you're going to do is you are going to copy this whole thing. Now, if you really want to be picky about it, you really only have to copy from the font face line to the bottom. You don't really need the Latin. It just describes that it is a Latin a Latin character set. There's Latin Extended, which has more characters. This is only the Latin one. And that's really all it had. Now, so I have the font. So So the next thing I'm going to do is go back to my page. And now what I can do is I can drop in this font on here. And now that that font family's there, I can call it down below. It's called rock salt. So I'm going to call it rock salt, and bang. That's it. It changed it. It's not quite all it, though, and I'm going to show you some changes that you're going to have to make when you put it into World Amble. They're minor, but they're necessary. So, that works okay. Well, the font family's good. I like the font. It's not big enough, especially after created by. It looks kind of small. So, we're going to change the font size next. And we're going to make it, well, let's try with 2M. Close. Let's try with 3M and see what happens. Probably a little too big. So we're going to go to 2.5. And that looks about right. All right, so we have the font. Man, I even like the underline, how that works, because it doesn't underline everything. So the last thing I need to do in this piece is, there's a huge gap there. Where's that gap? Well, one more time, we're going to go back to our identification tool here and see where is that gap. So we see this has got a fairly good gap underneath it, and that is the cover image. This has got a fairly big gap at the top. So we get that, and it's going to be the column offset one, and you can find that out just by playing with it. Now, so, and again, that's probably not helping you terribly in that I'm saying, well, you can find that one. But all it takes is playing around with it a little bit, and you can figure out which one is the right one. Now, here's the deal. If I leave it just like this, and in fact, I'll show you some other stuff here in a second. If I leave it just like this with this name, this will affect every single page that has this particular tag. Well, I don't know that I want that. It may be fine on other pages, but it doesn't work on this one. So I have to tell it which page I'm on. Now, all of the stuff that you mess with on World Amble needs to be under the user.css or .user-css or .user-css-presentation selectors. So they are children of those selectors. Okay, so everything here is now. The problem with this column offset is I need to move that up. To do that, we're going to have to use the inspector. I've talked about the inspector on streams before. The inspector is basically, you can right click on anything on your page and it will open up a separate window that shows you the code. Styling that. And what I'm looking at is, I know that that column, offset center, if I hold my mouse over it in the inspector, and you can't see it because it's on a different screen, but if I hold my button, you can see that it changes, showing me what areas each piece of CSS is affecting. In this case, the one I want is this one here, right? Now, when I look at that in the inspector, on the right side is going to show me what all the different attributes or settings are for that selector. So, I can look at it and see, well, first, this is under the page-world-homepage selector. So again, we're going to say, you know, the .user-css and another nice thing about Magic CSS is if you type something in, it's going to tell you how many times it matches on that page. This really helps you narrow things down. Now, I also know that this is considered page because we're on a page. And I'm looking at the selector here, page dash world dash homepage. Now, so I've got user CSS page dash world dash homepage. That's telling it, look, only affect this on the homepage, nothing else. Right? And then I want that column MD offset 2, which is what brings it into the middle. I want it to mess with that. So now I can look in and look at what the different things are. Well, let's see here. It tells me the margins on the left. It tells me how wide it is. But here we go. We're looking for anything that pads it from the top or bottom. Another feature is that this is telling me, for example, there's 15 pixels of padding. So what I can do to remedy that is simply say padding 0. 0 pixels. Did it move it? We'll know in a second. No, it didn't. So since it didn't move it, I got to find something else. Well, there's another tag that follows it. Let's try to target that one. One match. Oh, what did I do there? I will tell you that doing CSS a lot of times is just it's detective work. So the padding's not doing any different. Let's try margins. Now, see, when I hit the margin, I wiped out that margin left. That one was keeping in the middle. So I want to tell it top. Well, at 0 pixels, it didn't do anything. But here's a fun thing with margins. You can give it a negative. Except in this case, it's not making me any bit of difference. A little bit. Let's see. What happens if I go minus 100 pixels? It's really not making the change I want it to, is it? Let's try padding top. Not making that change. So we haven't found the right thing yet. Do a little little bit more research here. Now see if we look, we see that row heading is above there. So maybe instead of this column offset, it's the row heading. And if I look over here, it says margin right, margin left. Looking for the top. Doesn't have any padding. Let's try the margin though. What did that do? That brought the whole thing down. So that's not what we want. What about padding? So it looks like in this case, if I change the padding, what it's doing is it's bringing the top down. And again, that's not something we want. So we want something we want a selector that's smaller than the row heading. But bigger than this. Well, there isn't much. But maybe if we do row heading and then text center. Let's see what happens there. That didn't work well. Nope. All right, well, that's not working at all. So maybe it's this section we need to mess with. And now we're finding it. It's the margins on this world author section that need to be fixed. And now you see they're coming in. But now looking all these together, I've done something to mess up. Oh yeah. Done something to mess up my text. So That's the question. What did I do? It was working, and then it stopped. Here's where you start looking for, well, all right, what did I jack up? Now, let's see if it's just the name. All right, it looks like it probably really wants the quotes. And that wasn't it either. So now I'm doing some changes to the font just to make sure I've got it right. It's probably when I put the user CSS in there. Nope. Well, let's see what this section is. Oh, this is very interesting. Okay. So it wants something in front of this called author item. Very strange. It has simply stopped working. And this is why CSS is a rabbit hole. Let's do something you want to try to never do. Well, there's where it is. All of that for that. Somehow, an asterisk ended up in the beginning of the font name. So now I can probably go back to what I originally had, which was .user-css .world author And that fixed it. All right. So now that's acting and looking very much more like we want to see that. All right, so now, as I've done before, we've got this fixed up. So I'm going to add a section to it in my big CSS file. We're going to call this World Author Styling. And these are all under a section that I've started for just the home page. I'm going to copy all this in. But I will tell you right now that I know as soon as I copy this into World Anvil, it won't work. And I have to show you why. So let's go in. I'm going to go into our styling. And Control A. Control V, and save it. And what's likely going to be the issue is that new font doesn't show up. Why? Well, because of the way World Anvil wants you to format the code for the fonts. So you got to go back in here, go down to the World Author for styling, and see that's where we have the font. And where we have these quotes right here, World Anvil doesn't want them. Also, there's a repeated, and I took it out, but there was a repeated thing that said WAF2 at the end of the URL for the font. They don't want that either. Hey, Eli, welcome. I'm working on, this pains me to say it, version 7 of my CSS. Blowing it up, starting from scratch again. And just kind of walking through how I'm doing it. Let's reload this page and make sure it's the changes I've made. I'm doing this on a spare world that I've created. It is specifically for doing this. So if I bork the CSS, it doesn't affect my live world. It just affects this. There is a scary moment at some point where I have to transfer everything over and hope that nothing borks in the process. Never happens that way. I usually end up spending a few days redoing CSS because of something I've done, and then I get in a hurry and I don't comment it right, and so I'm trying to do as much as I can here off-site as possible. So what I've done so far is I set up the background of the world. I have set up the cover image for the world. I set up the world name, and if you watch, you'll see, there it goes, I put a little flashing effect on it so it looks like there's light shining across it like it's shiny. Here it comes. There it is. The A Place to Test stuff, that is the world subtitle, so that's there. Styled the date underneath it. Did the created by Kahuna the Elder, added a new font for that, and now I'm on to the next section. Now, one thing I really like is a horizontal rule that doesn't look like a horizontal rule. It's just me. Thin lines are great, but I like having something that looks like it. So let's see if I can find something. Let's see, horizontal rule images. Excuse me. Fancy. And PNG. You want a PNG because you want it to be transparent. But I also don't want it to be too terribly overdone. And the reason for that is sometimes, depending on how you do the layout, the horizontal rule will move. So as long as the ends are similar, you're okay. But if you have something in the middle, then when it changes the size, it borks it and it looks ugly. So I tend to look for something that's got ends as opposed to a middle. Let's see here. And yeah, I could make something, but it's kind of Christmassy. Don't need that. This one's not bad, but I'm not keen on the star. Well, let's take a look, because it's a site that has a lot of them. Oh, excuse me. Police tape. Yeah, no. Actually, that might be the best right there. That one right there. They're fancy. So still looking. And still not finding. Yeah, I'm just not finding anything that really interests me. Well, let's try a different site here. PNG. See if there's anything on Pixabay. PNG. Lurk away. I'm just working on some CSS. I'm looking for an image to use. Hello, dog. Hi. Looking for an image to use for a horizontal rule. I'm not finding anything I like that. Yeah, just not horizontal. Let's try horizontal rule. Nope. Let's try a line. No. No. Yeah, I'm not finding. Well, lurk away or ask away. Yeah, I'm working on CSS for my for for the 7th iteration for my world. So I do recommend, if you are going to mess with CSS on a World Anvil world, just create a second world and use that for messing around, because that way you can play with it until you're happy with it and then move it all over. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself into the nightmare. The other thing is, I don't give homework. That's my wife. She's the teacher. I'm the helper. The other thing I would recommend, if you give me homework. Oh, well, what would you like to do? I can't give you homework without knowing what you're trying to achieve. Horizontal 9 PNG. Let's see what I get here. Oh, this is better. Let's look at the images here. No. I'm confused. But that happens a lot. I'm getting old. Don't like that. Don't like that. No homework. Oh, no. I'm not giving you homework. No. Suggestions only. That is all I give. Take them. Leave them. These are interesting, but I don't know that I can use any of them. Like Pac-Man. Yeah, a lot of interesting ones. I'm just not finding ones going to work. Yeah, that would be interesting. Maybe. Whew. The bloody horizontal line. I might have to save that for something. Police line, I like that one. Oh, none of them. Some cool ones, but none of them are applicable. Very frustrating. Yeah, I do that a lot with fonts, and the problem for me with them is that Google Fonts has a lot of good fonts, but so many are just so similar. Then I find these awesome fonts, but to bring them on and use them on World Anvil, kind of a pain. So, kind of stuck until I figure out a better way to do it. I think actually I can find a way to use this. So. I wish I had enough talent to create my own fonts. I am certainly not that good. Alright, let's go. This is going to go into static image. I think this might actually be an interesting one for horizontal rule. Alright, so we're going to go to the file manager, upload. Why did I do that the hard way? Bing. Alright, now I need to copy the address for that. Now I can go back. And one of the things I've mentioned for CSS many times, but I can never recommend it enough, is the Magic CSS extension for Chrome. It lets you try things on the fly that are just awesome. All right, so this horizontal rule here, you know what? I'm going to make it for all horizontal rules for the moment, just to see how it works. Because I may try this and look at it and go, no. Background. URL, whoops. URL. Right. May not be big enough. Well, that's not doing what I want to do. Oh, I've got to remember how to do this. Let's try this little configuration here. And now I need the URL of the image again. That's not working. Oh, there it is. This image needs to be jockeyed a bit. All right. We're going to have to fire up the image editing software. But while I'm at that, I can change the color of it too. Because I think the blue is too cold and I think something a little warmer. Yeah, I need to squeeze that down. What are you working on, Meeple? Ooh. Sounds like fun. I'd like to update my laptop to a desktop. All right, we should be getting the software up here in a second. There it is. So I can drag this image in. Pardon me. It's loading it up. We'll see how much my laptop complains about this. Alright, so it's not a bad image, but one, we gotta really reduce this. Let's crop it way down. That's cropped pretty well. Now I need to scale it even tighter. Unlock that. Oh yeah, I need that down to... Yeah, that's not bad. But you know what? I should do the other work on it first. So I'm going to draw just a straight line. Gonna be a fairly hefty line, I think. That's good. All right, I got that. I'll apply that. I'm going to erase a little bit of it. I'm going to use a rough brush. takes the edges off. Now let's see what it looks like when I shrink it down. Yeah, I like that. Now let's change the color a little bit though. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking this and this image is hugely wide. And most of the changes I'm making here, you're not going to see. But they will make a difference. Alright, so when I zoom this back out, yeah, that's going to do it. Alright. And it's a nebulous, not super defined shape. So it's going to be if it shrinks or widens, it'll work. So let's see how it works here. I've got it done. I'm gonna have to upload it. That's gonna be my file manager. Where did I put it? Drawing assets. So it doesn't look like much there, but go back to the page I was working on. And we're going to drop that logo in here. Oh, interesting. Ah, yes. First, I got to make this smaller. size, I'm going to contain it. Background repeat. No repeat. So now it's just one image. And I can actually delete this stuff because it's already taken care of. Yeah, that works. So what it'll do is, depending on the size of the container that it's in, if it's a column, it's going to shrink that. If it's the whole page, it will widen it. We probably will see some... Yeah, there's another example of it, and that's roughly about the same size. It's not up here yet. But those are different horizontal rules, and I haven't gotten to them. Oh! That would help. There you go. Alright, so you can see it up there now. And then down below, there's another one there. So you can see, it's subtle. It's not... I didn't intend for it to be flashy. I want it to be just a simple thing that will resize as it needs to. Very simple. So that, I'm actually going to create a new section in my CSS file that is for global changes. And if I copy this into my configuration, save the changes. Now when I reload, it should be there without having to use the magic CSS functions. And there it is. Except the font worked again. What did I do? What did I did? We have borkage. Date author styling, font face. Correct. Usually if something like that happens, it means I forgot to put something in somewhere. Oh yeah, that's why. That should fix it. Fix that up here. What? Curse you! Damn you! Can I reload before it fixed? There we go. I did. I reloaded too early. Alright, so we got that. We got our horizontal rule. So now, the type for reading. Now is when I get to play with fonts again. Once more into the breach, my friends. Once more into the breach. That is Google Fonts. So for reading, I tend to prefer serif fonts. I think they give more visual cues to the eye. Let me actually go and copy something here so I can put it in. That's another great thing about Google Fonts is you actually can put in not just a sentence, you can put an entire paragraph in. And it will show you the paragraph. A font for all seasons, yes. All right, not impressed so far. No. So far, nothing's making me want to read. Oh, this Sebastian Koch is close. The kerning is better. Texturina. That's got an interesting look to it. Yeah, that's got an interesting look to it. I'll have to make a note of that one. It's got a fantasy look without being overwrought, which is the problem I have with a lot of fantasy styles. And actually, even, reading a paragraph of it is not ridiculous. That Garamond is a little too light. Cinzel's what I did. Cinzel's a good title, but I don't like it as a paragraph. A lot of these are too modern. Marcellus isn't bad. A little light, though. Oof. It's a big fat one. Claudex isn't bad. I've used it before. Allegria is actually a default font on World Anvil. You don't have to put any definitions in your CSS. It just tell it the font family's Allegria, and it's got it. Raleigh, it's a little too rounded. Z Cool's not bad. Now see, I've looked at stuff like Almendra, and it's just not a great reading font. It's all caps, so it makes it a lot tougher to read. Gabriella is another one that's a little too curly. Belfair's not bad. Oh, there's uses for all caps. I mean, if you're doing titles, all caps are great. But man, there's that I am fell. Exactly. For paragraphs, no. I am felt. Whoops. I am felt. DW Pica. Whew, that's a really light font there. That is. Ooh. Enjoy your coffee. I'll be here for about another half hour. Yeah, I don't like fonts that force you to really work to read. This Cormorant, here's this Cormorant Unicase, and here's the problem with this one. It's a mixed case. You have characters that look like lowercase mixed with characters that are obviously uppercase, and so it gets difficult to read because your eyes don't have enough clues. So I'm looking for something that is going to be fairly easy to read. You know, I think I've already seen what I want to see, so we're going to try this first one that I saw that I liked, the Texturina. Ooh. So it's got multiple font weights, which I really like. Alright, so we're going to select the 900. And let's select a 400. Actually, I like 500 a little better. Yeah. All right. So now that I've got those, I do the trick that I showed earlier, which is get everything in the URL up to display swap. And you're just going to copy, paste in, and you just want the URL. Otherwise, you get a wah. Whew, and there you go. It's apparently in 3 different styles. I'm going to use the Latin extended styles. So this is going to go into the global formatting. So I'm going to copy and paste them. Actually, in this case, instead of pasting it directly into the editor, the live editor, I'm going to paste it into my visual code first so I can make, because I need to copy both of these over. So I'm going to use the Latin extended. That way I have the extra characters, should I need them. All right. I actually probably only need one. Because looking at it, there's the same URL, it just asks for the weight. Alright, so we're going to pop that in here into my editor. Let's see what this is here. So we're going to call this yeah, that's not right. Alright, that's not it. So we're going to do an inspect instead. I'm going to see what it's using here. Alright, so it looks like it's going to be user dash CSS. Then we're going to have div. Next we can just say row dot heading. Says there's one match so far, and then we're going to go a little deeper and go into subheading. Oops. And there doesn't appear to be any. Yeah, there's not. So, now we've got that. We're going to paste in the font. Of course, these fonts are all going to be moved into a font area in the CSS, but I'm doing this to make it easier for testing. And actually, we're going to put the font somewhere else, actually, because that's, you know, a better idea. In that subheading, we're just going to do the old font family Texturina. And it didn't make a change. Why did you not make a change? Huh. Interesting. Oh, thanks, Stretch. I'll take a look now. Huh, interesting. I thought I had limited it. It's supposed to be only 4. Somehow everyone got on it. It's fixed, thank you. I'll probably make it for everyone once we've launched it, because that can be a place where they communicate, but it's fixed now, thanks. So that should be fixed. And then if you hear, oh, you told me to do me or Dinosaur Bob. Good idea. Good idea. I have a hunch he'd be fine with it, but I just want to make sure he gets the chance to say yes or no. Alright, so I'm missing something here. Oh, yes. Yes. Page dash world dash homepage. got that right. Oh, no, it's page dash world. One match, and it still has not changed. Oh. Something's still not right. What did I copy wrong? Oh, it's there. Oh, you know it's getting bad when you have to lean in this. Hey, Meeple. You gotta lean in this far. Not what I wanted. You gotta lean in this far to see the code. Something is wrong. That line's correct. That line's correct. I'm always playing around with it. Mine, not yours. Who's this? Do I have an extra? That closes that properly. Well, let's try copying again. No change. That's what I did wrong. No, that's right. URL. I'm at a loss. Why are you not? Let's just... Hey, hey, how are ya? That is the one I want. Let's try something else. It's not liking that. It might be that it's not liking the Latin extended. So instead, that's what it was. It didn't like the Latin extended. All right, so now this is the text. That color doesn't work though. Donnie, how's your out there going? I just spent, 20 minutes trying to figure out why my font wasn't working, and it was because it was just not a font that's going to work. All right. Well, that doesn't look too bad there. Mess around, however, with the background a little bit, because as this page gets longer, I don't think it's serving it well. So the background, sorry, not the I'm looking at the wrong one. The background for the page, and again, the page in World Anvil is the section where you read the text. Welcome, readers! Make yourselves at home. There's cookies on the counter and beer in the fridge. Just, clean up after yourselves. Don't leave a mess. Welcome, boarders. Welcome. So yes, I'm fighting with CSS once again. Raiders get cookies if they can find the counter. I'm an old guy. I give away cookies. I should get a cookie emoji. Wait, maybe I have one. Just a second. There's gotta be. I'm not finding one. This is ridiculous. How can there not be a cookie emoji? There is no cookie emoji. We're going to need to get right on that. There are plenty for everyone, Stretch. Those are little cookies. I like those. All right. Songbird giving out the cookies. So, I started today working on redoing the CSS in my funky little world because I didn't like where it was going. So I changed the background, the site background. I changed the background for the page section, which is the middle section. Then I decided to, I spent about an hour and a half, closer to an hour, working on the cool little shading on the background because I found that it was getting far too dark down here at the bottom, too early. So color is going to disappear if I'm not careful. So, also, found an image that would look good for a horizontal rule, went through, edited it. So now it's that funky little horizontal rule thing. I like it. Actually, it's nice. Where are we at? About 10 minutes. Tonight I do have to get out on time because what is that map for? Why is there a map right there? Thanks, Sable. It's getting there. It's getting there. On my live site, that ain't going to happen anytime soon. Why have I got a map right there? Makes no sense. Because I'm a knucklehead and I put a map in there, apparently. All right. So now I'm going to put in a container. And this container is actually one that I've used over and over. I'm going to use it again. So I've used it as many times that I know the name of it without looking, and all I have to do is go into my other CSS and drag the code back out. Well, that's not what I wanted. I need to open an old file. Where'd I put it? Oh, now I gotta find it. There it is. Aw, thanks, Sable. I don't get to talk in quiet, but we get things done. And we still have fun. This is kind of like a Kahuna Quiet that's not totally a Kahuna Quiet because I'm actually talking. But the idea is if you got questions, I can be here to answer them and kind of walk you through what I'm doing so it's not like, total alien crap. All right, so now I'm going to put this at the bottom under containers. So I'll call that Make sure this is working. I want to decide on 85% on that, right? Alright, let's load this up into the actual styling of the world. Make my font changes here real quick to make it World Anvil friendly. Ooh, I'm missing something. I am missing something. Yep. I'm missing a section. Okay. I watched way too much of the Three Stooges when I was younger. All right. If I've done this correctly, of course, there's no reason to believe I have, but if I've done this correctly, yes, it worked. So I have created a container that is specific to creating stuff that looks like stone markers. So like gravestones or stuff that, you know, that are engraved into stone. So the only thing I need to change in that is that should always be uppercase. I shouldn't be changing it there. In fact, I should be changing it here. And gang, it's just about the end of my stream here. So, let's see, who can we raid? And sharing is caring. Now, Davina's not on for another hour, so it looks like Aegon. Unless someone has another different suggestion, I think we're going to go visit Aegon. Oh, you're welcome, Meeple. If you could play any one Wizards of the Coast official D&D pre-made module, what would it be? Huh. That's a good one. I had to think about that one. All right, gang. Gonna send you over to Aegon. It's game night for us. And tonight game night is special because it's hockey. So, whoops. What the heck is Aegon's? What's Aegon TV? All right. Well, my guests are here. I need to run downstairs. Dinner's about ready, and we've got a game going. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning at Kahuna Quiet. And remember, tomorrow's happy hour, so do not forget that. Same time as always, 3:30 in the afternoon Pacific time. Otherwise, hope you guys have a great evening, and I am out of here.